Canada. Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
No, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.
Yes, sir.
Tony Malone. What's up, brother?
I'm tired.
Dragging the night, Tone.
I'm tired. Listen, I got sent a highlight package.
Uh-huh.
From a friend of mine. Hey, yo, what up? And so I'm just gonna kick the show off with that. Is that cool?
Let's see it. What we got?
I'm ducking down here. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
I move stuff around. You can't probably see the different. I thought Bob Saget was dead. Here we go. So let me start off with my highlight package. Obviously it was from the NBA last night.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. It's my favorite team. This is the Boston Celtics, and their threes.
Rain dance! Raindrops! Old school!
Yes, that's very indicative of what was going on in Boston last night. 100% that was going on in Boston last night. Bricks on top of bricks on top of bricks. That was awful.
I was horrible.
Awful, tall.
I listen. They say that, in this case,
yeah,
I'm changing up the saying a little bit. Live by the three, you die by the three.
Yep.
That was horrible.
We've seen bad games, Tone. That was worse than that.
They broke two records.
In addition to breaking the backboard with those bricks.
In addition to breaking the backboards. And what did they have? Like a 50-point lead that they blew. They broke the record for most threes in a playoff game with 60.
Mm-hmm.
And that's cool. That's cool. I actually have no problem. You know me. I love shooting threes.
Crack it.
This would be the team that if any team would have ever signed me to play in it, this team would have signed me and loved me.
Crack it.
However, the other one that they broke was a record that they didn't even just break. You know, you break a record and it's like, oh, they broke it by one. They shattered the 3 points missed in a playoff game. Like they were like, oh no, we'll show you, and they dominated that stat. It's like they went up purposely trying to beat that number. It was horrible.
Let me get this straight, Tone. So you want us to break records? We'll show you how to break records. That's exactly what.
Yo, Jokic, you want to break a record, bro? I'll show you how to break a record.
Yes. If we're gonna get smoked, we're gonna get smoked the old-fashioned way. We're gonna do it.
Getting smoked. That's the crazy part.
Let me rephrase that, Tony. If we're gonna smoke this, we're gonna smoke this.
Yes.
If we're gonna smoke this, we're 100% gonna smoke this the right way. We're not gonna kind of smoke this. No, kind of like I always think about Harold Reynolds when I think about Harold Reynolds used to play baseball, and he says, if we're gonna give up home runs, let's give them up. Let's not give up like one or two. Let's give up like 10 of them if we're gonna give up home runs. So with the Boston Celtics, so if you guys don't know, the Celtics shot 63s last night. Of the 63s last night,
that's 6-0.
Yeah, not 16. No.
60.
They shot 63s last night. Of the 63s they shot last night, they made 15 of them, which means that they missed 45 of them.
The previous record, I think, was 40. So way to shatter it by
wrecked it.
Half a decade.
Completely wrecked that. No doubt about it. And the thing that I thought was amazing, Tone, wasn't just the fact that they missed threes, the fact that they just kept doing it. Like they didn't go away from it. Like if we're gonna miss threes,
we can't hit this. No, it's okay.
Keep doing it. This is what got us here, right?
Yeah.
This is who the Boston Celtics are. For those of you that don't know, the Boston Celtics, they number one in the league in attempts. They finished the regular season at 48. At one point, they were up to 51 threes a game. That shattered. Just so you know, I know that sounds ridiculous, though. The 7 seconds or less offense with the Phoenix Suns, which was revolutionary at the time. Just so you know, they led the league in threes at 25. The Celtics doubled that this season. Completely split that in half. And that offense was revolutionary. 7 seconds or less, get the ball at the floor. They crack in the long ball. The Celtics shoot 51 threes at one point during the season. And on top of them shooting 51 threes at one point during the season, let's not leave out that on opening night against the Knicks, they cracked 60 of them, Tone. But Jason Tatum goes 8 for 11 at the long ball line. Jaylen Brown is great at the long ball line. So this looks a lot different. They end up blowing the Knicks out. They smoked them.
Live by the three, die by the three.
That's what it is. And there's no mystery about who the Boston Celtics are, Tone. No mystery about this. I said this earlier to the guys that they're last in the league at points. Excuse me. They're last in the league at points at the rim.
Shocking.
That includes the Charlotte Hornets. That includes Washington. That includes the Trailblazers. That includes Utah. The Boston Celtics are last in the league in points at the rim. Nobody shoots the long ball more than they do. Nobody. And nobody gets to the rim less than they do. Nobody.
Let me give you 2.8, 2, 2.3, 2.3, 2.4. Okay. Those are the first 5 seasons of the NBA 3, what the average team shot in 3-pointers per game. But hold on.
Oh boy.
37.6, 35.1, 34.2, and 35.2, and 34.6. That's the last 5 years of how many 3-pointers the average team in the NBA takes. They shot 50.
So Tone, we're looking at about on average. So to the point that you just made,
20 more than average.
20 more. And on top of that, we're looking at about 35 threes a game over the last 5 years.
Yeah.
About 35 threes a game. These guys cracked 51 at one point. They finished with 48 threes. 48.
They doubled last night. They doubled the league average.
Doubled it. Doubled it, Tone.
No wonder they were missing. Their arms must have been like exhausted or falling off.
So Jason
may
Tatum.
I say, it wasn't. I'm not going to say there was bad threes because I know that you have a stat here that you're going to share in a minute, but there were some that are highly questionable. Right, the step back 3 on a defender that's a foot shorter than you. Like I'm sorry, Tatum. I know that's your guy, but Jalen Brunson is guarding you, and you're taking a step back 3.
And then you get Mitchell Robinson on you, and you do the same thing with him when you can blow right by him. Yeah, you could go by him. You don't have to.
Let me give Jalen Brunson credit. He was doing a great job of staying in front of Tatum, but there's no way Mitchell Robinson. He couldn't get by Mitchell Robinson.
No way.
I'm sorry.
With Cat as the rim protector, stop playing, man. You can give me something better than that. So Jason Tatum shot 23 shots last night. 23 of those shots that he shot, 16 of them were at the long ball line. Right? 16 of those shots were at the long ball line. That's almost 80% of your shots at the long ball line last night. So it looks different when they don't make shots, Tone. That's why it looks so bad. Right? Because when they don't make them, you can lose a 20-point lead, which I still haven't gotten a satisfactory answer on how teams are allowed to come back being down 20 plus. Because I do understand that we live in a shot clock era, right? I do understand that. And I understand that throughout the course of the game, teams are going to try to speed you up. But to allow a team, a lot has to happen in order for you to cut into a 20-point lead. A lot has to happen for you to, especially in the second half. You got 24 minutes to cover 20 points. Well, the game is so fast that you can get into that 20-point lead and you can cut that in half just like that. Well, you can cut it in half because you allow them to speed you up. You allow them to make you play fast. You don't have to play. There's a difference between playing fast and playing with pace. And the Boston Celtics, I think that they play with pace. And when they're shooting the long ball, they're playing at their pace. They're not playing fast. They're not allowing the team to speed them up. When they're playing with that pace, they're getting downhill. Al Horford is on the offensive glass. Not only is Al Horford on the offensive glass, Jaylen Brown is out in transition. Sam Hauser, who was also out of the lineup, he's also cracking the long ball and getting open looks. Derek White is causing havoc on the offensive end. What the problem is we get one pass, one shot. They didn't make the New York Knicks guard at all last night, Tony. It was one pass, Jason Tatum, dribble. In the process of him dribbling, it was him against Jaylen Brown, right in the mid post, him back out to the long ball line, shooting a shot with 5 or 6 seconds left on the shot clock. Well, that's not good offense at all. If you're up 20, I'm not saying that you need to stall. No, I don't want to play to lose.
No, but you can't. You're up 20, and I get it. Shooting the three is what got you there.
Sure.
But you can't be shooting a three with, 20 seconds left on the shot clock.
No.
Because what do we know about threes? The longer the shot, the longer the rebound.
Right.
And that's how you get them back into the game is, like you said, quick shots, long rebounds. They go back the other way, quick score. You come back, quick shot, long rebound. They go back the other way.
Go.
Like Fluent Jr. left the room for what he said felt like a minute. He's like, what just happened? Like they were just up 20. And I go,
like
I know. Yeah, it's just like it was that fast. And, yes, the 3-point shot is what gets them there. I get it. And you got to, and when you have them and they're open, I get it. You got to take them. But you also have to be smart. You have a 20-point lead. In this league, a 20-point lead isn't what it was 20 years ago. You're 30 years ago or 40 years ago, you had a 20-point lead and it was done. You put in your bench guys and you're good.
Mm-hmm.
That 20 points can get caught up that fast if you don't play it right. You got to be smart.
Correct.
You got to be smart. And they did not play it right at all.
Now, with that being said, Tone, because, I deal with a lot of Knicks supporters, which came out in droves this morning, by the way. The Knicks supporters came out in droves. Well, Knicks in 6, and you saw what we did last night. Okay, so, again, to your point, you're talking about shooting the three. You live by the three. You die by the three. What are the odds? Because that's what we're doing here. We're playing it by the numbers. So, Tone, what are the odds that I'm going to shoot 23% at the long ball line again? Right? What are the odds that you're going to crack, that I'm going to miss almost 80% of my shots at the long ball line again? What are the odds that I'm going to take that many threes? What are the odds that I'm going to miss that many wide open shots? Because don't forget, Tone, it wasn't like the threes of the 60 threes that they took, all of them, these guys had hands in their face. That was not going on. They missed a lot of wide open looks last night. So what are the odds that I'm going to miss that many wide open shots? I'm going to take that many threes, that I'm going to shoot at the quality of shots I'm going to have. On top of that, we find ourselves in an overtime game with you, as bad as we shot. Right? We didn't, like, you guys didn't beat us going away. We were up 20, and as bad as we shot, you guys ended up beating us in overtime. What are the odds that we're going to play that bad again? Because we've seen them shoot bad, Tom. We saw them shoot bad last year in the NBA Finals against Dallas, and they both Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown both shot bad. They still won. And they still won because they do a multitude of other things. They still play defense. Jason Tatum's averaging almost 15 rebounds in this series, right? He's got to do a better job in taking care of the basketball. Jaylen Brown also has to do a better job in taking care of the basketball. And what I still haven't gotten, Tone, is I still haven't gotten a satisfactory answer. Maybe you can help me out with this. What's going on with Porzingis? What's the story? This illness thing keeps coming back, and I don't understand exactly what it is. Does he have something? What's the problem with him?
I'll tell you what I think, because they keep saying illness, right? It's not an injury. It's not like,
right,
this, a strain, that. And I'm going to tell you what I think it is, because I'm looking at him and his breathing patterns and the way he's moving. And if you recall, a few weeks ago, I couldn't make the show. If you remember.
I do remember that. Yes, sir.
Because I had walking pneumonia. Walking pneumonia is huge all over North America right now. And I think that's what he has, because the problem with when you have that, it's like there's fluid in your lungs and it's hard to breathe, and you start to go and it's like you feel good.
Yeah.
And then it's like it's a cough, it's a weakness, a dizziness.
Yep.
And so that he's a pro athlete. So I'm not comparing my life as a 100-year-old man to him right now. But it was very similar to what I felt, because I was like, yeah, I felt good.
Yep.
I'd get out and move, and then like I just would get tired. I'd get fatigued really fast, like faster than normal. And so that's what I could see it being, that because you feel good, especially when you're a day or two into the antibiotics, you feel really good, but you can't run. You don't have the lung capacity. And so that's the only thing that I could think of that would be like where he's able to kind of come in and come out, is that he has, whether it's that or it's something like that, like a respiratory thing, because he's not like throwing up. You don't like, he doesn't look feverish. Like it's not. So that's would be my best medical guess. It's something like that, because unless they're lying and it's
something way worse.
Something else that no, I mean like a torn something or a strained whatever, or sprained ankle. Like it doesn't seem like it's a physical external, I'll call, thing like that. It seems like it's more like he just can't play as much as he should. And
this has been going on all season, Tone. Like he sat out. This isn't something that like you just like a couple of weeks ago, just so you guys know, Tone was under the weather. He had pneumonia, and he was at a commission for a little bit. This has been going on for quite some time now with Porzingis. This isn't something that just happened.
It is something that can linger. Like you can, if you get it bad enough, it is something that can linger for a year. It is something that can come back frequently.
I didn't know it was that long. Wow.
It really depends. Like if you get it too often, they get really nervous, because the antibiotics will stop working if you have to take them too close together. Like I said, it can linger and it can come back frequently. So he might. Again, it could be something totally different. It could be there's a million other respiratory issues. I'm trying to think of the least, the least worrisome one, where I'm like, hey, if he just takes a couple weeks off and like sleeps, he'll be fine. But
the thing I'm thinking about, Tone, is, and I don't want to alarm people, but I just remember vividly, like it was just yesterday, that Magic was sick. Magic wasn't feeling well, and that's all we knew. Magic, he's sitting out of preseason games because he's sick. I'm worried that this is something else. It might not be. It may not be that, right? I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that it's that, but this is something that's been going on for quite a while now, Tone. And I'm having a difficult time with it just being something respiratory, even though it's something that can linger. And I remember Jaylen Brown talking about when he had COVID and how it's affected his lungs, how it affected his ability to breathe. How it's still to this day, how it's affected him being able to run, him being able to catch his breath sometimes. I feel like there's something going on. There's something going on with this guy that they're not telling us about. And I think it's a lot more serious than we know. I do. Because usually when you have an illness, quote unquote, that's exactly what it is, Tone. It's an illness with some antibiotics. It goes away. This isn't something that lingers for a month, for 2 months, for a year, or a month, 2 months, 6 months, where we're still talking about it. This has been a season-long thing. Season-long things are sprains, torn tendons, things like that. Those are illness is not something that's season-long.
Like I said, if it is respiratory, it can be. So, well, listen, we won't find out until after the season. After the Celtics season is done, I believe that's when we'll find out what this is. And in the meantime, hopefully he gets healthy. I've always said this. I wish injuries of any kind on nobody. Like I want everybody to be 100% healthy for every game. Like that's like, anyone who doesn't want that, I think there's a problem. What up, Smokey? Yes, we'll talk about our Lakers in a little bit. However, not quite yet. So to your point, you kind of took the words right out of my mouth. Is that the Celtics, we always say, they're going to give them a game. That's what they do every series. Even last series, they gave Orlando a game. I didn't think it would be game one, but they always give them a game. And to your point, it took them breaking the record for most three-point shots missed. And how many field goal attempts did they take last night? Do you happen to know? I can look it up, but I don't know if you know this.
I think it was 87. I think they took 87 shots last night, and 60 of them was threes.
Okay, so they took, how many? 80?
I think 80. I want to say 87, Tone. Okay. And I'm pretty confident that that's what it is.
Okay. It took them taking 2/3 of their shots threes and missing more threes than any team in the history of the NBA. To lose in overtime. Just keep that in mind. To lose in overtime. A team that should have probably been playing a game 7 against Detroit. Should have been playing a game in Detroit because they stole a game from them.
Yep.
which none of you thought when I picked Detroit to win that series. You all thought I was crazy, and I was wrong. So I guess maybe I am crazy. But let's not forget, Detroit gave them all that they could handle, right? 3-4 games were 1-2 point games. They were all like one possession losses. Like Detroit, even though they lost in 6, I hope everybody is really impressed and really happy in Detroit because no one gave them a chance and they played really well. That being said,
Boston took 97 shots on them, by the way.
97 shots?
97 shots.
Still, 60 of 97 is still about 2/3.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to happen again.
It's not, yo.
Like if the Celtics, I think, and I called when I picked this series, I said, and I hate picking the Celtics, as you know, as a Laker fan. However, I said Celtics in 6. I wouldn't be surprised if they won. Like if they won in 5, I wouldn't be like, oh, that's crazy, because I just feel like the Celtics are deeper, stronger. They're just a better team than the Knicks. And can they win 4 in a row against the Knicks? Yeah, they can. But 6 will probably be more realistic, even after game 1. Because like I said, this is their worst game of the series is going to be this one. And they lost in overtime. Because you know what's going to happen tomorrow. Not tomorrow, whatever. When is game 2 Wednesday or Thursday?
Tomorrow night. Mm-hmm.
But this is what the Celtics do. They're going to shoot 63s again, except they're going to hit 47 of them, and they're going to blow them out by like 30 points. And everyone's going to be like, oh, they're back. The narrative will flip just like that. That's what they do. So, like, would you be honest? Would you be surprised if they hit 47 threes and beat them 136-91?
I would. If realistically, Tone, if the Celtics shot what they normally shoot, let's say they shot 51 threes and they hit 38 of them, and they beat the Knicks like 110 and like 90. That would not surprise me at all.
Well, you wouldn't be surprised. Okay, I'm exaggerating a little because it makes for better television. You know what I mean.
100%. I know exactly what you mean. And you're right. Even if they did shoot 63, matter of fact, if knowing the Celtics, Tone, if they hit 47 threes, they probably took 70.
Yeah.
If we're being honest. If we're being honest about the Celtics, if they took 47, if they made 47 threes, they probably took 70 of them. So I'm not saying that it's ridiculous to think that they would blow them out. But Tone, if I'm being honest with you, I don't think the Knicks get another game in the series. I think
I would, like I said, I maybe get one, but I wouldn't be surprised. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if it was 5. All right. First to the look, now I feel like my pneumonia is coming back. I shouldn't have said anything. For those reading and saying, why does it say Trysta Krick? She can't make it. She got a migraine. People getting sick. She was supposed to be here. She hit me up right before the show and said, I can't make it. Although I said, hey, we're on from 8 to 10. She's got the link. So I said, feel free if you wake up. Because have you ever had a migraine?
I got to sit in the dark.
I've woken up in the middle of the night with them so bad that I feel like I'm going to vomit. And I'm like, that's what, so I feel sorry for pain. So hopefully she feels better soon. All right. That being said, we got a couple super chats, so let's hit those up real quick.
What we got?
The first one is from Sir Darko the Third. What's good, y'all? Hope all is well. It is chill. I kept tabs on Enrique Freeman this year in the G, and he was a good 17-10 guy. He can be useful soon.
So Tone. Last year in the draft, this kid, Enrique Freeman, I was huge on him.
Okay.
He played at the university. I want to say he went to the University of Akron. He was player of the year in that league. He was a 4-year starter. He walked on to the team at the University of Akron. Led the conference in points and rebounds. His senior, I want to say he led the league in rebound. Not just led his team.
I don't care about any of his stats or who he played for. Was he born at the Akron Hospital?
I don't know if he's from Akron. I think he is, though, Tone.
Because if he was born in that same hospital as LeBron and Steph, I'm drafting him. Just something in the water at that hospital.
Something's going on there. I don't know what it is, but
I don't know what they're putting in that formula, but it reminds me of Black Lightning.
I dug this kid, Tone. He gives me when I saw him during pre-drafts, he gave me like a Dennis Rodman, more athletic better scorer kind of feel, like the dirty work guy that's going to play hard without the antics, but he's going to play hard. He's going to get on the glass. He's wiry, really athletic. And I think that Indiana is using him exactly the way that you should. I don't understand, and I've never understood this, Tone, since this has been going on. Why don't teams use the G League more? That's what it's there for, if I'm not mistaken. It's there as a developmental league. A lot of these people,
some teams do. I think like Miami, Toronto does a great job. If you remember, they put Pascal Siakam through their G League. They put OG Anunoby through their G League. They put Fred VanVleet. Like a lot of their, Chris Boucher. Like if you remember, there was a run where the Toronto, they're called the 905.
Yep.
905 was winning like back-to-back G League championships. And it was because they were putting those players through the system and forcing them. And there's a player now who didn't get to really play because of some injuries, Christian Koloko, who's on the Lakers roster.
Yep.
And he refused. Like he was getting pissed that they were trying to put him through the G League. And I'm like, dummy, look how well it's worked for these other people. And that was kind of then the injury. And that was a part of the reason why.
One of the major reasons why he gets pissed is because of the societal impact. A lot of people think that going to the G League is a demotion, which is not. A lot of these guys that have come through the G League, I mean, it is a demotion. It is.
Is
it though, Tone?
100% it's a demotion, but it's a demotion based on, it's more of a, hey, we want you to develop to be better in the NBA, and less of, you can't cut it here, we're putting you there. It's more like, hey, we want you to be better here. This is how. It's like when you take a baseball player and you put him down into like in AAA in the farm team to kind of work on his swing and change something so that they can come back better. So it is a demotion. If NBA G League, it's a demotion, but it's not like you're not like
you're not up. Right, yeah. I get that. Right, I 100% get that part, Tone. That you're not.
Like you're going there to stay there. You're going there to make something better, so you can be better here because we believe that you can play at a better, higher level in the NBA.
Well, maybe not. Well, maybe not looking at it. Well, maybe not looking at it as a demotion, as opposed to looking at it as a way to develop. You're getting sent to the G League not because we're punishing you, not because we don't think you can cut it. No, we're sending you there to develop you because that's a part of our plan.
It's a way to get more minutes and more reps. And I hate to do this. Because it's clearly not the same level. However, I'm currently, as you know, I coach youth basketball, and I coach a AA team. And at our organization, we have an elite team.
Yep.
And one of the players who's kind of on the second half of the roster from the elite team. I spoke with the coach and he said, the only thing stopping this kid from being really good is getting more minutes, getting more reps. And based on the team dynamic that we have, he's not going to crack that top 5, top 7 to get a lot of minutes. How would you feel about taking him on and working with him, like through practice, developing his skills? And obviously he'll get more minutes on a lower level team. And I said, yeah, 100%. If it improves my team, it helps him develop. That's all it's there for. It's he's going to get more minutes. Well, guess what happens? He gets more minutes. He gets more confident. Right? Starts knocking down some shots. Plays a game with the elite team. Oh, best game he's had in a while. Shocking.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's about working those skills and getting those reps. I'll use Fluent Jr. Yep. Fluent Jr. goes through basketball, but obviously he does baseball as well.
Yeah,
plays rep baseball, and we sent him to a developmental league that they don't even play games through the off season, through September through March.
Just skill work.
2 hours, 2-3 days a week, whatever it is, and it's just over. It's the same.
I love that.
It's the same. Take the ground, pop up, swing. Like it's just a million reps. Because I told him this, and I wish more people would say this saying. I don't know that I've heard it. I feel like I've heard it somewhere before, so I'm not going to take credit that it's mine. But I ask him all the time, why do you practice? And most people say to get better. I go, wrong. You don't practice to get better. Oh, I practice to get it right. No, you practice so you can't get it wrong.
That's why you practice.
And it's the best saying, because it's like, if you do it so many times that even with your eyes closed, even when you're tired, you're doing it the right way. Practice so you can't get it wrong.
It becomes repetition, sure.
To your point, yeah, he got mad about the G League. Either way. All right. Teddy Hart says, would it be crazy for a small market team to make a high risk, high reward move by checking with Philly about their discounted price for Embiid, then just hope he recovers? even at 85% of what he still should be top 10.
I don't think it would be ridiculous, or I don't think it would be crazy for a small market team. If I'm Utah, I'd call up Philly and check their temperature on Joel Embiid. 100% I would. I would 100% call them up and check their temperature to see how they felt about him. Because I'm about to get the number 1 pick in the draft. Well, I'm about to get something like that. I'm about to get something close to that. And if I'm Philly, and I've already said this to you, Tone, if I end up with the number, I'm moving off of Joel Embiid and Paul George. I'm out. I'm out.
Well, I told you never should have been in on Paul George, but
you did tell me that, and I fought you tooth and nail on it. I thought you were ridiculous. I thought this team was going to be a lot better, and it turns out it was a disaster. With that being said, if I'm Philly, because the draft lottery is next week, I got to find out exactly where we are in terms of the draft. Tone, if I get the number 1 pick, I am picking up the telephone, and I'm calling any and everybody, and I want to find out how you feel about Paul George. And if I'm Utah, I would call up Philly, and I'm not even asking for the number 1 pick. I want to know how you feel about Joel Embiid. What's going on with him? Because I'm out on him. I'm out on Joel Embiid.
But this is an interesting question for me, because Teddy asks it in a way that it's like, would it be crazy for a small market team? No, it would make complete sense for any small market team because he's a name, right? He's a not that far removed from MVP status. But why would it be a small market team if they're going to get him on a discount? Why wouldn't the big market? Don't say it. If I'm the Lakers, who desperately need a center, I'm not taking a chance on if I can get a discounted Joel Embiid, because you're right. Joel Embiid at 80% is better than all their centers combined. Heck, JJ Redick might even play him.
You 100% would call.
So that's why I think it's an interesting way to say small market. I think every team is sitting there going, well, listen, what was the last team that took a chance on a superstar MVP injured player?
Who's the last team to do that? I don't remember one, Tone.
The Toronto Raptors with Kawhi Leonard.
They did do that.
How did that work?
They won the NBA championship with him.
Pretty good.
Yes, they did. They won the NBA championship with him.
Is Embiid going to be an MVP candidate ever again? No, probably not.
We don't know. We don't know, Tone.
We don't know, but probably not. But if I could get a season out of Embiid at 80, 90%, and then a season at 60%, and then a season at 80%, and again, the key word is, right? We're having a different conversation, but here it says about a discounted price. Well, at a discounted price, hey, let's have the conversation. Let's have the conversation.
And to your point, Tone, I mean, what's a discounted price? Okay, so he's got 3 more years left on this deal because he just signed an extension. So he's got 3 more years left on this deal. I think at like $150 million. Okay, fine.
You're gonna have to find a salary match and a discounted price,
like
basically
$200 million, something like that.
Yeah. So basically, what a discounted price is, there's discounted prices, not too many draft picks,
right? And
just a salary match. Even if I have to get a third team involved,
I was just about to say that, Tone. With a team like Utah, we probably got to get a third team involved in it. And if I'm Utah, I'm definitely kicking the tires on Joel Embiid, 100%. Off the strength that, how many more years do I think Joel Embiid has? Well, if he's healthy enough, if I could get 80% of Joel Embiid, okay. Well, number one, that's the guy on the moniker, so he's going to sell tickets.
Sure.
So if I can get Joel Embiid out to Utah, that's number one. Number two, if I'm Philly, this works out for me because I'm taking the big fella off your hands, right? I'm definitely taking the big fella off your hands. And what I'm asking for is Walker Kessler. I got him on a rook deal. Sure. And I'm gonna build my unit around McCain, Maxey. If I could get Walker Kessler off your hands and whatever draft pick I get, that's what I'm building my unit around. And I'm also gonna see what I could get for Paul George.
100%. Listen, you're not getting anything for Paul George. And someone brought up in the comments another one, Bill Walton. The problem where it differs with Embiid and yes, to the other person who said it was different than Kawhi. Yes, of course, Embiid is different than Kawhi. However, I'm just equating that to an injured superstar. Bill Walton's different because they also got him on the cheap and they had him come off the bench, right? Embiid's making way too much money. So unless there's a buyout and then you get him like on his when we say on the cheap, we're saying you don't have to give Philly too much. If they buy him out and you can get him on the cheap dollar wise, well, then that's a whole nother great story. Sure. Dev, we got 2 more and then we're going to move on to the next topic. What would Brunson have to do to be considered the greatest Knick ever? Also, remember his pay cut he took. Fans will remember that for sure. Let me double this one up, if I may, because your friend Mike asked a question that I'll piggyback onto this one because he wants to know if Brunson takes out the Celtics and SGA loses. Well, you said in round 1 that he can't lose in round 1 because SGA is already into round 2. Would you put Brunson ahead of SGA? So let me just tie that in. So what does Brunson have to do to be considered the greatest Knick of all time? What does he have to do to put himself into the top point guard in the NBA conversation?
Is he close to SGA right now as a player? Because SGA, as of today, if somebody's asking me where is SGA in terms of players today, so I think SGA is a bona fide top 5 player. If Jalen Brunson, if they were to drop the Knicks, they got to
drop the Celtics.
Are they winning the NBA championship too? They dropped the Celtics. I'm sorry.
Let's say Jalen Brunson. Let's do that. Jalen Brunson leads the Knicks to an NBA championship. Is he the greatest Knick of all time? And is he better than SGA? If SGA, let's say, gets knocked out this round by the Nuggets,
would it? So that would mean, because he's only been with the Knicks for 3 years. That would mean that in these 3 years that he's passed. That means that in these 3 years he's passed Patrick Ewing. In these 3, like for him to win the NBA championship,
that would be a conversation. It'll be a conversation.
Okay, so that box got checked. I'm not going to argue that point. That box got checked that he did win the NBA championship. So if we're doing that, then it sounds to me like the championship is all that matters. So we got to do the same thing with Kawhi Leonard. He only played there for a short period of time. So Kawhi Leonard is the best Raptor of all time because the fact that he played there for a short period of time and delivered them an NBA championship. So Vince Carter, you over. So Chris Bosh, you over. DeMar DeRozan, none of you dudes. I don't think that you guys are in conversations with Kawhi Leonard because, again, he delivered them an NBA championship. So the same logic.
He is also the best player to ever play in Toronto.
Okay,
if you take Kawhi Leonard that season, he is better. That one season is better than any other one season.
Really?
Than
he only played 55 games that year, Tone. It wasn't like he played 82 games and he was
he played 65.
No, he didn't play that many games.
Didn't he get 17 off? Or he got 27 off?
He didn't play that many games. But with that being said, he delivered them an NBA championship.
I'm trying to defend him.
Yeah, he did deliver them an NBA championship, no doubt about that. But with him being only with the Knicks for 3 years, the fact that you delivered the NBA.
For the record, he played 60. He played 60.
Okay, so he played 60 games, not 55. All right. So with that being said, he played one season where he played almost 2/3 of the season. In the process a little over 2/3 of the season, and he delivered them an NBA championship. So take out DeMar DeRozan being an All-Pro, take out Vince Carter being an All-Pro and playing there for 7 years, and take all of that out. So it sounds to me like all that matters is just winning the NBA championship. That's what pushes you over the top. Because there was a time when Patrick Ewing was in the conversation as the best big man in the game. Just so you guys know, it was up until 1995. Up until 1994, him and Olajuwon were like this. There was no separation between him and Olajuwon. These guys were pretty close to each other. When Olajuwon did what he did in 94 and then won the NBA championship in 95, that's where the separation happened. But there was a long time while Ewing was there for 8-9 years where he was considered at that time, like when they went to the NBA championship in 94, he had been there for 9 years at that point. And he was considered right next to Willis Reed as the best Knick ever after 9 years.
Well, I was going to say, as like, to answer the questions more simply, I don't think he's even close to Willis Reed or Walt Frazier yet. So, like, Walt Frazier's a top 10 point guard of all time. Yep. So we're talking about Brunson maybe possibly being a top point guard right now, maybe. like in the conversation for top point guards, not the best one. So yeah, so the answer for me is no.
Again, Tone, what I'm thinking about is where is Jalen Brunson in the pantheon of not even point guards? Where is he in the pantheon of players? SGA, I think, is a bona fide top 5 player in the game. I think you can make the argument that Jalen Brunson is a top 15 player in the game today. I think he's a legit top 15 player, but I think he's closer to 15 than he is to 5.
Yeah.
So because of that, for him to win the NBA championship, not just beat the Boston Celtics, but to win the NBA championship, that would mean that he would jump from, I don't know, I think before we started the season, I think I had him at like 13 or 14. Yeah. So that would mean that he would have to jump from 14 all the way to like 4.
Yeah. And that's why like this,
wow.
This is why I say, like, when people say the greatest enter team name here, how long you play for that franchise, to your point about Kawhi Leonard, matters. Like I have Magic Johnson over Kobe all time.
I do too.
But I have Kobe over Magic as the greatest Laker of all time because he played 7 more seasons. Mm-hmm. Like he was there more. Like it just, like when people. No, I don't want to get into that conversation about LeBron as a Laker, but because now he's year 7, but still, I'm like, there's so many guys who did so much more for that franchise. We're not talking about, because what people do is they'll say Kawhi or they'll say Brunson, be like, well, that's the best player that's played there. Yeah, but you can't judge them based on what they did before or after, right? You gotta put them into, as hard as this is, just that box when they were there. Who were they when they got there? Who were they when they left? What did they do in between? And that's it. Right. So anyways, thanks for the question, Dev. Last one, Teddy. Hey, Fluent, I specified small market, thank you, because they're not a free agent destination. Otherwise, that under normal circumstances couldn't get this level of player. See, okay, so here's the thing. When you say, I understand, I feel like a lethal shooter. I understand it now. But the small market team won't get them on a discount. That's the difference. I feel like a big market team will say, hey, if I'm going to get him, I'm going to get him at a discount. Otherwise, I don't want him because he's injured goods, right? He's damaged goods. A small market team who can't get that type of player in free agency, you're right. The only way they get them is draft them and then hope that they don't leave. They're going to have to pay and sometimes overpay because the Philadelphia knows, well, you're never getting this caliber of player ever. I know what he's going to mean to not just your franchise on the court, ticket sales, all that stuff off the court. So if you want him, you're going to have to give me 3 1s, 4 1s, 5 1s, something stupid, right?
Right.
And that's where I think a lot of those deals break down. The other thing is, maybe this doesn't matter, but if you're a smart market team, forget the injuries. He's not motivated as it is. You think you want him coming to
Utah,
small market, wherever, where he's not going to want to play?
Charlotte.
Like, how motivated do you think he's going to be then? So a lot that goes into that there. So anyways,
even though, and I know this may sound ridiculous, and I've said this to you in the past, Tone, you and I had this conversation talking about the Trailblazers and the Jazz playing on, I think it was in January, and I said that there was a time where to get to the NBA Finals, the road to the NBA Finals went through these 2 teams. And if you are rocking, if you rocking and rolling in Salt Lake City, Utah is a great place to play. I promise you. It may sound nuts right now because nobody wants to be there, but when they have good teams, Salt Lake City is a great place to play. It's not a bad place to play at all. It is a great place to play.
I think that's almost every city, right? Like when you're winning, everybody loves you. So that's not a surprise. It does bring up, since the small market thing, it does bring up a question.
Mm-hmm.
Because now, obviously, a lot of their season already is over, right? Mm-hmm. LeBron season over. Luka's season over. Kawhi's season over. Giannis season over. Dame's season over. Jalen Green, not that he's a superstar on that same level, season over. Already they're talking about Giannis, right? Mm-hmm. He's the we know he's not happy right now in Milwaukee. Ugh. So they're saying cities like Los Angeles, New York, Miami, maybe even Chicago would appeal to Giannis Antetokounmpo, his next team. Are small market teams just feeders for the big market teams? They get the players ready and then move them off, because there is a long history of great players moving on from small Orlando, right? You had Shaq goes to LA. Yeah, like it just seems, now there's some people who are already in, like, don't use the Jordans and the Kobes who are in the big markets.
Sure.
LeBron goes to Miami and goes back to Cleveland, but then goes to LA, right? Like there's a history of players getting good.
Yep.
And then leaving
for. Here's the thing, Tone, which sucks, by the way, which absolutely sucks. Yes, small market teams are breeding grounds for big market teams. Yes, they are. And
so why do you fight me? Why do you fight me every time I tell you Paolo Banchero's going to leave Orlando and go to a real team?
Well, that's because you think he's going to leave Orlando soon. I think they're going to get I think they're going to get a decade out of him. Just like Milwaukee has gotten a decade out of Giannis. I mean, he showed up there in 2013. They got 10 years, 12 years out of him, right? So with that being said, these guys ultimately, because I think Minnesota's going to lose Anthony Edwards at some point, and they're going to lose him to a big market. Yeah, he's not playing up there for 15 years. No. Kevin Garnett played up in Minnesota for 12 years. Then they lose him to Boston, right? This is what happens with small market teams, because it's difficult to bag free agents. It's difficult in the draft. You have to get it right. And don't forget what Minnesota, when they had Kevin Garnett, when they botched the Joe Smith thing and they end up losing like 2 or 3 first round picks, which if you're a small market team, you need your first round picks.
I killed that.
You 100% need your first round picks. So with that being said, yes, small market teams are breeding grounds for major market teams, off the strength that you could just get more. I would love to see Anthony Edwards stay in Minnesota for 13, 14, 15 years. I would love that. Just like I saw Russell Westbrook stay in Oklahoma City for as long as he did. I think he played there for 13 years or something like that, 13, 14 years. They're going to build a statue of him outside the arena one day too, by the way, Tom. But
we're going to do that. No, they're not.
And anyway, so the problem that we have with these small market teams is your margin of error is so small that when you get it wrong, it's huge. It's a big deal. So
it's hard, market to be honest, it's hard to win. It's hard to win. Like you said, you have to get the draft perfect. You're not going to get big name free agents.
Yes.
Your star players are only there for a certain period of time because of what I just said. Because if you don't get the draft perfect, if you don't get the free agent, then the team's not going to be good. If the team's not good, then your star's like, well, I'm going to go. I want to win. Yep. And because we've made the narrative that if you don't win, you suck. So they all go to win because they got to leave, because if they don't win, they suck.
Right. And because small market teams, to your point, it's really hard to build. It's really hard to build a winner in a small market team because it takes time. You got to get your draft picks right. You got to get your free agency right. You got to get your development right.
I can do it. So if there's any small market team that's looking,
you got to get your development right. Tone has already been advocating for the Knicks. It looked like they turned out all right though.
They were so scared of James Dolan actually taking me up on my offer that they were like, we better
win because we'll get this guy in here and he really will turn this thing around for free.
Well, I won't do it for free.
Yeah. I don't remember what the proposal was, Tone. But anyway,
exactly. I wouldn't be for free. I'd make them winners and I'd get paid. Yes.
The point that I was making about small market teams is we've seen it numerous times where a guy ends up outgrowing the city. The reason why James left Cleveland, he outgrew Cleveland. The reason why.
No, I don't believe that to be true.
I 100% believe just like Shaq outgrew Orlando, even though he loved it there and he didn't want to leave.
But you also know that's not true either. You know firsthand that's a lie.
Well, here's the thing. He did not want to leave there, but he did outgrow Orlando. Yes, he did.
I'm sorry, Jake.
He 100% did.
If they would have offered him the same money that the Lakers did,
he would have stayed.
And he would have stayed. So
he would have stayed.
He outgrew the NBA when he got to Boston and he was 400 pounds maybe.
Okay.
But he did not. He did not.
Here's the difference. Now he's 24 years old at that time when they offered him that deal, right? He's 24 years old at that time when they offered him that deal. And
how long was that deal for?
5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a 5-year deal. So at 28, 29, as big a deal as Shaq became in Los Angeles, he probably would be, if they would have ended up winning it on Orlando once or twice, he would have probably become an even bigger deal and outgrown that city in Orlando.
And I believe you, and I believe that had he been there at 29 and won, he would have outgrown Orlando and needed to move somewhere. I agree, because he has other aspirations outside of basketball. I don't think at the time that he left that he had outgrown it yet. With LeBron, I don't think he outgrew Cleveland at all. I think with all the things that were going on in terms of, him and ownership were not getting along.
Yep.
There was definitely a power struggle about personnel, right? Because I know for a fact that they wanted draft picks and young players, and he wanted veteran guys, and the veteran guys weren't working, right? They were bringing in old ass Shaq and Antoine Jameson and Anthony Parker. Yeah, like it wasn't going to work. And so he saw an opportunity where, well, I don't get along with ownership as it is. They want to go young. I want superstar teammates.
Sure.
He's even on record saying, I have the video, if anyone doesn't believe me, of him saying, of course I tried to recruit people. They didn't want to come to Cleveland, right? I tried so hard. Nobody wanted to come to Cleveland. No offense to Cleveland, but duh. Like if you go to Chicago, LA, New York, you like it's not your first choice.
Right.
So I think it was more, I can't get superstar free agents. They're bringing in these old guys because they can't get the tier 1 free agents. So they're going tier 2, tier 3. And like, I honestly still think I think if he got along with James Dolan, I think if they were like buddy, I don't think he leaves. I honestly don't think he leaves. If James Dolan, not James Dolan, I keep saying James Dolan. I keep thinking of my Knicks job.
Yeah.
All I can think of is James Dolan. What the hell is his name, man?
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank. Dan Gilbert.
Dan Gilbert. Yeah, if him and Dan Gilbert, I keep thinking of that Knicks job. James Dolan, call me. If Dan Gilbert and him were friends and they got along and they had open dialogue about, the direction of the team and, hey, we're going to bring in this coach and he's going to be your coach for the next 10 years. And I get it that, Shaq is too old and, but we can't get Dwayne Wade, but hey, we're going to get you Carmelo or Chris Bosh or blah, blah, blah. We're going to get you those, 1B tier free agents versus, tier 3 and 4.
So
I honestly don't think he leaves, but I'm arguing with ownership all the time. We're not on the same page. I can't win with the way this is constructed because we've been the number 1 seed in the NBA 2 years in a row and we couldn't get out of they got out second round, third round.
Yeah.
But I can go to Miami where I know Pat Riley.
Right.
Because don't forget, he also wanted Pat Riley to be the coach. Pat Riley's a superstar.
Which Dwayne Wade made it clear you don't want that. No, you
don't.
Yeah,
and I get to play with Dwayne Wade. And don't forget, at the time, they were thinking Dwayne Wade and Carmelo. It ended up being Dwayne Wade and Bosh. But still, he's like, I'm gonna have a team here. I'm gonna have a legit shot with prime superstar. I'm going to. I've said this before. You know how I feel about him. I'm going to. I'm off to Miami. See you later.
Right. So the way that they were building that team around him in those first 7 years, 100% they weren't doing things correctly. So if that's the case, Tone, then when he came back and they did get the memo in how to build a team around him, he started winning more. In the process of him winning more, he became a bigger deal. With him becoming a bigger deal, I can't do what I really want to do while I'm here.
I agree.
Hence the term, I outgrew this place. Yeah. That's why he ended up leaving. Because
when he went to LA, I agree with you. I agree.
What he wanted to do, I feel like
the company, the agency, all that stuff, for sure, makes more sense in LA. Yeah.
And I'm not going to be able to do it here. And guys do that. Guys, I don't think Dwight Howard outgrew Orlando. I just think that it was just an issue with management. It wasn't just him becoming a bigger deal. No. I actually like Dwight Howard in Orlando. But guys outgrow places. But on the flip side to that, there are guys who are really good in small markets, like Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker, I think he made a mistake going to play for the Celtics. Yep. I think he should have stayed in Boston. I think he should have stayed in Charlotte, to be quite honest with you. But
you're right. Like Tim Duncan and his demeanor, perfect for San Antonio.
it wouldn't have worked in Los Angeles.
Perfect
It wouldn't have
percentage.
worked in as good as a player as he is. It just would not have worked in New York. It would not have worked in Los Angeles.
That's why, actually, to be honest, that's why I never understood the Giannis staying in Milwaukee when he had a chance at free agency when he signed the extension. He is too big of a personality. No offense, but he's too big of a personality for Milwaukee.
And hence him outgrowing Milwaukee. Maybe everything, because Tone, it happens. You can get to a place where, you know what, I've done everything that I can possibly do here. There's nothing left for me here. And it's time for us to move on. That doesn't mean that Milwaukee sucks. That doesn't mean, because he's been there for 12 years. Same thing what happened with Damian Lillard. I don't think Damian Lillard wanted to go to Milwaukee, but
we know he didn't. He wanted to go to Miami. We all know that, yeah.
But with that being said, I think that he had done everything that he could possibly do for the Trailblazers at that point. 12 years he had been there. And by the way, Kevin Garnett didn't want to leave Minnesota, but he had done everything that he could do there. There's nothing left for me here. He's, as the player that he was, still, he had outgrown that place. So I do think that there's some validity to outgrowing a city and outgrowing an organization. And I think that guys like Anthony Edwards, I think that they're going to lose him to a big market team at some point.
Yeah.
I think that I think players like that. I'd be surprised if San Antonio, even though they have the history with David Robinson and Tim Duncan.
But those are perfect personalities for that city. I don't know that Wemby is that guy.
That's where I'm going, Tone. That's exactly where I'm going, because Wemby's the kind of guy. I'm not sure that San Antonio, for a 7.5 foot tall guy, is going to be conducive for him, considering the player that I think he's going to become.
But that's where my
the conspiracy theory is happening.
That's where my conspiracy theory comes in about San Antonio, because you're right, and I agree with you that I think he's going to be too big for San Antonio. However, if they've got De'Aaron Fox as the 1, Castle at the 2, Flag at the 3, Wemby at the 4, and anybody at the 5, and they are a perennial championship contender / dynasty, it's going to be hard for him to leave when he's winning that much. Right? Like, let's be honest, Tim Duncan was the right personality, but even if he wasn't, like, this is a team that never won less than 50 games with them, that although never won back championships, was always in contention and went to 6 finals in that whatever 10, 12, 15 year stretch. And won 5, like with Duncan, he was 5-1 in the finals. Like, so even if his personality kind of said, "Oh, let's get out of here," where am I going to go?
if the Cavs, as much as I feel like James has outgrown Cleveland, if the Cavs were to beat the Warriors in any of those stretches, whether it's 17 or 18, James can't leave. He's got to stay there. He's not going anywhere. As good as Los Angeles sounds, as good as New York or any of those places sound, if they if they don't lose Irv and they beat the Warriors in 17, if they beat the Warriors in 18, he'll be back. 100%.
He's retiring. He's retiring a cap.
Yes, he's definitely staying there.
All right, the next one we have. Speaking of small market teams losing, every free agent. The fact that people are surprised at this point. Every free agent's going to the Lakers. Okay, so just in case, even non-free agents. I believe we're getting this off season. So we already traded for Luka. We've got Luka. We've got LeBron. I believe we're going to be getting Jokic. Green's actually going to be our 6th man, and Giannis are all coming over to LA this summer.
Just one question, Tone. How are we going to pay for this? I'm just interested.
Don't worry, LeBron's a billionaire, because it ain't going to be Jeannie Buss, because she's only a millionaire. So when I saw this, I just laughed and I went, well, one, why would you even want him? Because I told you he wasn't him, and he proved that in 6 of the 7 games. But is this just more Lakers are always the front runner for every free agent, but they never actually get them. Like, they were the front runners for Kawhi. Yes, he joined the Braves, and good on him. He got what he deserved.
So I'll start by saying, number one, we already got a 2 guard, and he's pretty damn good. I'll start there, and we got him on the cheap too.
Would you trade him
for Jalen Green?
Yeah,
no. And I love Jalen Green. No, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't trade?
I would not trade Austin Reeves for Jalen Green. No, I would not.
Interesting. Okay.
No, I would not trade Jalen Green for Austin Reeves. I dig everything about Austin Reeves. I think that he is and on top of that, I got him on the cheap. So
I'll tell you right now, I don't think Austin Reeves is a starting 2-guard on a championship team, but okay. I agree with you. I still have him over Green.
I do think he is, Tone. I think that the right architect and the right pieces around him, where when you had Anthony Davis, when you had James, like something like that, something to that effect, I think that works, building that around him. But Jalen Green as a Laker, it makes sense from a monetary standpoint on his end. Like I think he can make a lot of money with the Lakers off the court. He's got that look that Hollywood likes. You know, he's Becky with the good hair. Yes, 100% he is that. But from a basketball standpoint, I think that they have a great thing with Austin Reeves. I think that they have a great thing now with Luka, who word is that he's totally committed to the Lakers and building this thing. So James is going to come back. I still think that James is interested in seeing how they build this team, because priority number one in the offseason, Tone, it's not Luka. It's not James. It's shoring up the 5 spot. That's priority numero uno. We got to get a big man in here. I don't know which big man we got to get, because, again, big men are not growing on trees around here. They are not.
You said the whole league was going to be a bunch of 7'4" guys handling the ball, shooting threes.
Yes, they are. Mm-hmm.
It's not yet.
Just not yet. The Wemby is the archetype. Here's the difference, though, Tone. The difference is that I think that big man that the Lakers need, I think he in the draft. Problem is they don't have no draft picks. Just like what the Miami Heat got with Khalil Ware, I think that guy is in the draft with the Lakers. Now, with that being said, Jalen Green, the Houston Rockets are on to something, man. They are. I feel like they're on to something. They're building something, and I don't want to screw this thing up, and I don't want to jump the gun by now coming off a guy who this was his first trip to the playoffs. Sengun, this was his first trip to the playoffs. We were a wreck 2 years ago. Now here we are in the first round, taking the Golden State Warriors with Jimmy Butler, with Steph Curry, with Draymond Green. We're taking these dudes to 7 games. I don't think that they could have beaten them, but we're taking these dudes to 7 games. With that being said, it's clear that we on to something here. So why would I want to deal with the Lakers? Why would I want to deal with the Lakers and give Jalen Green? If I'm the Lakers, why would I take Jalen Green away from Houston for Austin Reeves, who I think is better than Jalen Green? Am I going to develop him more? No, I'm not going to develop him more. I already got a 2-guard.
Listen, it makes sense. It makes sense from Houston's standpoint because they upgraded that position. They get a scorer that they need, a more consistent scorer, and cheaper.
Sure.
And from the Lakers standpoint, they could get a more athletic 2, and I would assume Houston would have to throw in a draft pick or something. So it could make sense from both sides. I don't like it, but
I'm just thinking Houston.
But what I told you about Houston 3-4 weeks ago, I stand by. No, it was when we did the Players' Choice. What was it? The 10 millionth episode or whatever it was. I think it was that day when I told you, and I told all you guys. I said, my biggest fear for the Rockets, and because I told you they were going to lose to the Warriors, first of all, which they did, and my biggest fear is that they're going to react. They're going to try to make a move instead of staying the course, because I think you're right. I think they are onto something. I think they have a chance to be a very, very good team, a perennial contending team.
Sure.
If they don't screw it up. My fear is that they're going to try to get a Donovan Mitchell, a Kevin Durant, even an Austin Reeves, and they're going to mess up what they've been building. And that's the only thing that can derail them. If they stand pat and, draft somebody, get a free agent, listen, do you want to move on from, a Dylan Brooks, and bring in another kind of veteran kind of guy like that? Sure. Do you want to move on from Fred VanVleet, who was really good for them, but for another veteran guy. Like, listen, the veteran guys, I hate to say it, sometimes, they're interchangeable. I wouldn't let go of Steven Adams, but I guarantee you there's going to be a lot of contending teams that are making calls about Steven Adams, right?
Yes, sir.
Because the NBA is going through a fantastic, wonderful transition where they're allowing them to play a little bit more physical.
A little bit, right, Tone? Game look a little bit rougher. Like, you put hands on guys a little bit.
A guy like Steven Adams, who's going to rebound, block a shot, lay somebody out, set a hard screen. Those guys have a role now in the NBA again. And I think it's fantastic because as much as they needed to open it up to let the stars show off their skill and their talent, because it's the most talented, skilled era we've ever had.
Yep.
It's those guys who set that screen, who set that pick, who will create space. Because if I could have come off a Steven Adams screen to shoot, oh my Lord, it would have been beautiful. So right, so imagine you get these guys doing what they're coming off that. It gives them, it actually, it almost sounds counterintuitive, but a big oafy kind of guy doing that is going to open up more opportunity. Now, you can't have the 90s. You can't have four of them in one scorer. That's not the 90s was what it was. No. But one, I think you can have one per 5 on the court, and it actually will open up, and it allows you to have that toughness that we missed, and still take advantage of all the openness and the skill. It's like, I know we don't talk hockey very often, but I remember like back in hockey, there was always like the checking line, and there was always Wayne Gretzky was super skilled, super talented, super fast, but he always needed like Marty McSorley to come and like smack someone upside the head.
They were called goons.
So to give him, make sure it's hey, don't mess with my star player, and give him some space.
Yep.
I'm okay with that. I think it makes the NBA actually even more entertaining, but that's just me.
I mean, the Warriors got a goon. His name's Draymond Green. 100% they do. So 100% the Warriors got a goon. But I just don't. Now, when you put it that way, Tone, where this could work for both teams, I just feel like with Houston, I think that this kid Jalen Green, I think he's going to be good, man. I'm not ready to give up on him yet. Even though I dig Austin Reeves, and I do think that Austin Reeves would be an upgrade for some people, I feel like you guys have had him for the last 4 years. In the process of having him at this time, now you've had Coach Udoka training him, developing him. His shot selection is getting better. His ball handling. This is the first time that he's ever been in the playoffs, and it wasn't a great showing.
I'd give him another year.
Yeah, it was a bad showing. I'm not ready to move off of him just yet, man. This is one of those things for me. This is one of those things where, get better. This ain't good enough. Go home, get better. I need to see improvement from you, because we're building something here, and you need to be better. And I think he knows that too.
Oh, yeah.
I think he knows that he needs to be better.
Mark my words. Tuesday, May the 6th, 9:09 p.m. Eastern. If the Rockets trade him and I think it'll be him if they bring in a big name player, they'll be in the play-in next year. You heard it here. Mark the time. Write it down. Take a picture. I don't give a watch. All right. What do we got next? Oh, this one's yours. Because I said to you about Jokic. You said, wow, he's the first player ever. I want to read the exact thing that you said. The first player ever to put up 40, 25, and 2 in a playoff game. And I said, kind of. And you said, let's talk about it. Do you know why? Do you know why I said kind of?
No, I don't know. I don't know why.
So 40, 20, and 5, 4 people have done that.
Yep.
So obviously Jokic, Wilt, Shaq.
Wilt did it twice, actually.
Wilt did it twice. Shaq and Giannis also did it.
Sure.
Now, when Giannis, I want to say, did it, he had 1 block. And so that's what the 2 is. It's 40 points, 20 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 blocks. So Jokic did it with 2. And Giannis did it with 1 block. Shaq surprisingly had 0. Wow. However, the 2 times Wilt did it, they didn't track blocks. And I would bet dollars to donuts that if we go back and watch those two games, that he had at least 2 blocks.
I was thinking like 6 or 7. No,
listen, I don't go overboard, but you're probably right.
Yeah.
So I would bet the farm that he had 2 blocks. So that's why I said he's the first to do it. Kind of. That's where the kind of came from, because this is phenomenal to think only 4 people in the history of anytime you do something that no one else has ever done. Like, it's crazy. And so this is technically because they weren't tracking blocks. Technically, he's the first to ever do that. That's crazy.
It's nuts. It's especially because
done. Remember after they lost, and he had like 7 turnovers, and Trysta was on here saying, "I think he's hurt. I think something's wrong with him." And all it took, and yeah, I'm gonna bring it up, was the Clippers clipping, the
Clippers clipping,
the Buffalo Braves braving, the San Diego paper clipping.
Oh God, man.
Was there ever any doubt they were going to lose that series? A little bit.
I had picked the Nuggets in 6, right? I had picked the Nuggets in 6, and they actually had that game won. Russ blew the layup, and with Russ blowing the layup, that just completely threw the momentum out the window. But with that being said, Tone, this stat line that you just mentioned, the 44, 22, and 6. I think he has 6 to 7 assists and 2 blocks or something like that. Just so you know, he also did that against one of the best defenses in NBA history. So, like, he didn't just do that against a good team. Oklahoma City is regarded as one of the best defenses that the NBA has ever seen. Right? I think they had a net rating of like 18, something ridiculous. That's better than the Bulls in '96. Right? So, with that being said, when I'm watching him, he had his hands full with Zubac. Zubac gave him all that he can handle. He had a lot tougher time getting to the rim. He had a lot tougher time around the rim dealing with Zubac. He was dealing with a stronger big. He was dealing with
Can we give him the credit he deserves? Because I know it's only one game, but clearly it was Zubac that made his life miserable that series.
100%. No doubt about that. And Zubac gave him all he could handle, not just on the defensive end, but on the offensive end too. He gave Joker everything that he was looking for: quick hits, quick shots, getting on the glass. Well, it doesn't seem as difficult running. It doesn't seem as difficult with this Oklahoma City team.
With Hartenstein and Chet.
not only with Hartenstein, Tone, I said this earlier, and I'm going to say this again. I'm going to look into the camera, ladies and gentlemen.
Hold on. I want to do I want to do it right. I want to do it right.
Yeah, absolutely. Just so you guys know, I'm going to look into the camera. I don't know where this came from, but stop switching small guys onto big guys. It doesn't work. I'm going to say that one more time for the people in the cheap seats. Stop switching small guys onto big guys. Alex Caruso, Lou Dort cannot one-on-one cover Joker. You were taught in high school. You were taught in college. You are even taught in the NBA. These coaches are extremely lazy when it comes to getting around screens. Ghost screens, flare screens. These screens are not big-time screens. They're not big enough deal for you not to be able to get around them as a big guy. So as a big guy, when you got Joker on you, you, Alex Caruso, you, Lou Dort, should not be switched on to Joker when he's on the box. You should not be switched on to Joker when he's in the mid-range. That's your responsibility, Chet Holmgren. That's your responsibility, Isaiah Hartenstein. You are not going to put your smaller guy switched onto Joker because he's going to abuse them. And that's a recipe for disaster with you guys. So stop doing that. And the same logic goes for big guys switching on the small guys. Hence, Jared Allen and Tyrese Halliburton. Please stop doing that. That's not going to work. No. And I'm a big-time Evan Mobley fan. Everybody knows how big of a deal I think Evan Mobley is defensively. But, Tone, we live in a space, and this is where this comes from, by the way, and I don't want to go on a rant, but this makes my blood boil. But we live in a space of positionless basketball. So because we live in a space of positionless basketball, everybody thinks that everybody should be guarding every position. No, it doesn't work that way. I do not, even if we do live in today's world. Even 30 years ago, Tone, I do not want Kevin Johnson switched onto Hakeem Olajuwon. I do not want John Stockton switched onto David Robinson. No, that's not the way that works. And just because the big man can shoot the three today, and just because the big man plays on the perimeter, does not mean that smaller guys should be switched on to big guys. No, that's not the way that works. You as a guard, you as a defender, you should know how to navigate screens. You should know how to get around screens. A lot of these guys die on screens. A lot of these guys, they just succumb to screens. They just allow themselves to just let screens be there, and they just let them die, and they just let them happen instead of working to get around screens, working to go under screens, working to go around screens. You do not have to leave your small guy switched onto a big guy, and now that big guy has your guy, who is Alex Caruso, in the mid-range with minimal help around him to go to the basket against Joker. Please stop doing that. That's not going to work.
I hate when I see like it's not even a good screen sometimes. They get screened and it's like Spider-Man hit him with the web. They just stop. And it's like, oh, I'm screened. I can't do anything.
No.
Switch.
No.
Lazy. But I see what you're saying. Like there's ways to combat that when you see like I want to say the Celtics did this the other day, and that's why I got upset with what he did against Brunson. But they had on the, I guess, facing the basket on the right wing, they had Tatum, and he came across the top through 3 screens so that because he knew the Knicks, all they did was switch, so that he could end up on Brunson. Yep. And then he settled for a 3, but when he should have taken him down low, but whatever. But the point was they purposely did that because they knew they're going to switch everything, and he just went switch. Okay, now I got Brunson. Now I got the matchup I want. And it's like, there's ways to combat that. You can fight now. You can't. It's tough to go under the screen with how good the shooters are nowadays. However, when the way the Celtics were shooting last night, you probably should have gone under every.
Big guys don't tone. I'll live with Jokic shooting threes all night.
I think the way that, like I always say, the way that I coach to combat it is when if your man is setting the screen, you blitz the ball handler. What that does, it causes him to stop for a second, and then you can kind of fight through whether it's over or under, but he's not open. Like there's always ways to combat it. And I think it's a laziness of coaches not teaching it, and players just be like, oh, I'm screened. Okay, let's just switch because it's just easier to switch. However, historic night. You know what else is? Let me go back to the previous series really quick because you had mentioned about. I always say his name wrong. I say everybody's name wrong. Zubak. Mm-hmm. As great as he played, Joker still averaged a 20-point triple-double. Mm-hmm. Do you know how many times in the history of the NBA a player has averaged a triple-double in a 7-game series?
Let's see. No, I don't.
Because you have no point of reference, because Jokic was the first player in a 7-game
before Joker.
In a 7-game. So when I say a 7-game series, I don't mean a series that could go 7. I mean a series that went 7.
Went 7 games.
Went 7 games. Yep. Jokic is the first player to ever average a triple-double in a 7 where they played 7-game series.
Sure. That's interesting.
In that last game, since we're on some Denver trivia, 6 players scored. Sorry, not average. 6 players scored 15 points or more. Mm-hmm. Gordon scored 22. Brown scored 21. Jokic 16. Murray 16. Westbrook 16. Michael Porter Jr. Scored 15. Do you know how many times in a game 7 6 players have scored 15 or more points?
Once.
This time.
Yes, with the Denver Nuggets. That was it.
Correct. The Denver Nuggets. That was the first time ever. So first time ever in a 7-game that went the full 7, someone averaged a triple-double, and the first time in a game 7 players. Now 6 players did it. 5 players have done it 13 times. Mm-hmm. But that was the first time 6 players. So you had your whole starting 5 basically and a bench player all go for 15 or shockingly they won.
So really quickly, Tones, because Smokey likes to be involved in the conversation, and I like to talk basketball with people who, challenge theories. Smokey, are you comfortable with Jalen Brunson guarding Jason Tatum at 6'10" on the box all day long? Are you comfortable with him guarding Jason Tatum in the mid-range all night long for a 7-game series, consistently switching onto him? Are you comfortable with that? Because I'm not. As good as Jalen Brunson is.
Let's not confuse it happening once or twice or whatever. Because I said he did a good job. He did do a good job.
100% he did. And I'm not going to argue that point. But Jalen Brunson, not Jalen Brunson, Alex Caruso was switched on. Alex Caruso and Lou Dort were switched on to Joker numerous times last night.
Yeah, that's just easy for him to find.
It wasn't just once or twice. If I'm going to switch Jalen Brunson onto Jason Tatum, are you comfortable doing that throughout the course of this series? Are you comfortable with putting Jason Tatum in the mid-post and in the mid-range and Jalen Brunson, considering the offensive responsibility that he has, are you comfortable with him having to cover Jason Tatum consistently throughout the course of the night? Because I'm not. Because Jason Tatum will eventually take advantage of him and his size. Even though
over Jalen Brunson, a few games, he will get worn out, and that will hurt his offense. And then you're screwed.
100% he will.
Because listen, you're not getting.
I'm not comfortable with that.
You're not getting 29-30. You're not getting 29-30 out of OG every night.
If he got if I got to lean on Jason Tatum for 5-6 games, I'm good. I'm straight.
Next one up.
Shut your damn mouth.
Uh-oh. Since we're talking about OKC, Russ got a standing ovation by the Thunder fans, and you want to say the words that drive me the craziest, which is he's getting a statue. I guess he's getting his number retired and his zero up in
actually, Tone. The words that drive you crazy are hanging his jersey in the rafters. I want to take it a step further. I want to take it a step further than that. They're going to build a statue of him outside the arena.
Why?
Yeah, because he's the staple of the Oklahoma City Thunder. He's the best player. The separator between him and KD, is that he stayed and KD left. That's the difference.
He didn't stay forever. He left. He's been on 13 teams.
Well, here's the difference though, Tone. He stayed there for longer, much longer. He showed up in 2008.
You know what though? You're right. Let me step back and say, as much as I hate it, you're right. They are going to build a statue for him because they damn well retired Nick Collison's number. Yes, so they might rename the team to the Oklahoma City Russ Westbrooks, because why not? If you're gonna retire Nick Collison's number,
they love him.
They're going to be playing at the Westbrook Arena in a minute.
They love him there, and what Russell Westbrook did for that franchise, not just what he did for that franchise. What he did for that franchise was a big deal, Tone. I mean, the second league MVP that they've ever had, averaged a triple-double for 3 years? He averaged a triple-double. He made Oklahoma City box office, Tone. You did not care about what was going on in Oklahoma damn city without Russell Westbrook being on that crew. You did not care, because I can tell you for a fact I didn't care. I'd be lying if I said I did, because I did not care what was going on in Oklahoma City. That
team should never have left Seattle.
They didn't leave Seattle. They got stolen. Those two things are not the same thing. But with that being said, Russ has been a staple for that Oklahoma City franchise. They love him there. The way that he left was classy. They had recognized that it was time for them to move on. And Russ said he didn't want to be a part of a rebuild, and it wasn't ugly. So they accommodated Russ in terms of getting him a trade. And he's still loved by the fans. Not only is he loved by the fans, he loved Oklahoma. So I think they're going to build a statue of him outside the arena one day. I think he's their all-time assist leader. I think he's their all-time scoring leader.
Okay, cool. Yeah, build them. I'm done. Build them too.
Another one.
Okay.
Build them too. I can't have this. I'm sorry. I can't. Next episode of Chill with Chill, you can talk more about. I can't. I'm gonna have a brain aneurysm.
Snap back to reality.
A statue for Russ. Jesus Christ.
Sorry, Toe. But here's my question to you, Toe. What's the issue with immortalizing Russell Westbrook as the greatest player that they've ever had? Or one of the greatest players that they've ever had? What's the problem, Toe?
How many statues does OKC have out in front of their arena?
0.
How many championship banners? Don't you dare say this the Supersonics one. How many championship banners do they have?
Let's see.
None is the answer because I
That's
said
not true. They went to the Western Conference. They went to the NBA Finals. So they were the
championship banner.
100%. That's a champ. Just so you know, Tone. See, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is my Laker guy over here. They don't raise Western Conference championship banners, even though other teams do. That is part of it, just so we're clear. And other teams don't have the standard that the Lakers have. So yes, they went to the NBA Finals.
Fine. How long have they been in OKC?
Since 2000, I want to say 8. I want to say 2008 or 9.
All right. Well, I'm putting a mandate on teams that you have to be in contention for 30. Sorry, not contention. You have to be in the league for 30 years before you can give anybody a statue. Then you can at least 30 years of existence.
What are we doing?
I was gonna make it 50, but
no way. No, listen. Again. They did raise it. They did raise a banner. Not only did they raise it, not only do they have a Western Conference Championship banner up there in 2012, they got a league MVP, 2 of them. And they're about to be 3 because I think SGA is going to be named league MVP.
Cool. You should give them all a statue together.
I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised if that happens.
So Curry GOAT has 2 meanings. It's what I had for dinner. And there's a nasty rumor out there that if Steph Curry wins another championship, he should be added to the GOAT debate.
Which bugs me out when I hear this kind of stuff, because why do we have to? Why does Steph Curry have to win another championship to be in the GOAT debate? You already think he's that anyway. So if he wins, now all you're doing is just confirming that. You already think that anyway.
It's just an excuse.
Right. You already think that anyway. So because you already think that, why don't you just put him there anyway? Why does having another NBA championship matter to you? Again, Steph Curry has been in the league since 2009. We're going on 17 years. What else do you need to see? Over 25,000 points. He's the best shooter in the history of the NBA. League MVP in back-to-back seasons. Why? The unanimous league MVP, by the way. Why do you need another NBA championship and another league MVP to put him in the GOAT conversation? Why does that have to happen? Why can't he just already be there? Why?
I know the answer. Do you want the answer?
Please.
All right. Well, first of all, if you're going to put championships as the reason to have him in the GOAT debate, then can we all just agree then that Bill Russell is the NBA GOAT?
I don't
make it easy. It would make it so easy to just say, hey, Kareem's the GOAT of all basketball because he won 3 in high school, 3 in college, 6 in the NBA. No one's catching that, so he's good.
Right.
And Bill Russell has 11 in the NBA, so he's the NBA GOAT. I love it. It's easy. No debate. We don't have to fight. We might lose a bunch of shows because there's shows that build them their entire existence on the GOAT debate. But there we go. We're done. To answer your question,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, let me give you the answer first. The reason is because unless he has more than LeBron, no one's going to take it seriously. That's why. That's the only reason why they said if he wins one more, he's in the GOAT debate, because he can't be tied, because 2 of them came when he brought in, Superman to fight alongside Batman. It wasn't Batman and Robin. It was Superman and Batman.
So if that's the case, Tone, okay. If
he has 5 in 7 tries or whatever it is, 5 and 7 would be, I think. Well, now, hold on. Now 5, only lost 2.
So is Magic in the GOAT debate?
I think Magic is the GOAT. I think Magic. Listen, I think Magic. You know this, how I feel about Magic. I love Magic. He's my favorite player. Magic. The only reason Magic isn't in the GOAT debate is because we got stolen of his last 3 prime years.
We got robbed of 4 years of Magic. Yes, we did.
If he plays those seasons, just think about it. If there was a player today that went, and there is. If there was a player today that went from 2010 until 2020, and he went to 9 NBA finals and won 5 of them, he's in the GOAT debate. And we say he's the greatest at his led a bunch of stuff. Most assists per game all time, blah, blah, blah. Multiple time MVP, multiple time finals MVP, the steals champ. And you go through all that stuff. He's automatically in the conversation. we don't do it with Magic, and I don't know why we don't do it with Magic, and maybe that's my fandom coming through, but I think it's just because he got cut short. His career sadly got cut short.
So, really quickly, Tone, because we got robbed of those 4 years, I actually went back and did some homework. I don't know if I ever told you this, but I actually went back and did some homework that on the rate that Magic was going, and on the pace that he was going, if we get those 4 years, Magic would have retired at the end of those 4 years with over 25,000 points and over 16,000 assists.
There, yeah.
Now I don't even know, and by the way, within those 4 years, he's getting back to the finals. Within those 4 years,
yeah. Let's be very clear. Let's be
100%.
That wasn't an accident in '91 when they went to because people are like, oh, he was old and past his prime. That's a lie. He was second in MVP. First of all, he won back-to-back MVPs and then was second that year in MVP only to Jordan.
He was 31 years old, Tone. He was 31.
And that team that he had, Worthy was still in his technically like what was Worthy? 32. Yep. He still had a couple years left. Byron Scott was young. Eldon Campbell was young. Vlade Divac was in his rookie year. And it's the Lakers. You know they're going to do something. They always do something, just like they did with Kareem when they brought in Magic. They would have brought in someone that would have been great. And now that team, I've said this before. I think if Byron Scott and Worthy played injured, he played all the games except one, but Byron Scott missed the entire season. If they're both healthy, the Lakers are given the don't forget the Lakers are actually favored to win that series against the Bulls because of their experience.
And they won the first game too, by the way.
Yeah, everybody wants to say the Bulls were favored in all of them. No. However, if they're all healthy, that's a much longer series, and maybe the Lakers win. That's maybe fandom a little bit too. But who are they not knocking off? Like over the next few years, you don't think they're good enough to beat Portland?
They would have beat the Blazers in '92.
Exactly. I think so too. I think they go to back-to-back final. Phoenix would have been tough, but they would have had the size.
They went 5 games with Phoenix without Magic.
No Magic,
and they were up 2 games, and the Lakers were up 2-0 in that series.
Don't even remind me of that, please.
I'm sorry, Tone, but yes, they were up 2-0 in that series with Magic. Phoenix is out.
Phoenix is out.
Phoenix is out, no
Houston, listen, Houston hadn't been to an NBA Finals in 100, since 82, when they had Sampson, 86 with Sampson and Elijah. Oh, yeah, right, because he didn't get drafted until 84. What's up, buddy? Good night. Love you.
Go to bed.
Say good night.
Good night, Uncle.
All right, yo. Go to bed, nephew.
Good night, Uncle. So is Houston, like, let's be honest, Houston was Olajuwon.
Yeah.
If they have a team now that has Campbell and Divac and Magic and older Worthy and Scott and whoever, like I said, they bring in someone. You don't think they're going to give Houston a run for their money at some point? So they're making at least 2 of the next 4.
I think so. I 100% think so. Yes, there's no question in my mind. Hello, dear.
Shut up.
What? Yeah, they can see it. They can see it.
Yeah, we see it.
She likes the LeBron doll.
There's no question in my mind, Tone, that of those 4 years, and to your point, Magic is playing at the level that he's playing, where he was second in league MVP votes. He was only 31 years old when they lost in the NBA Finals. So I think I can get 4 more years of Magic at that level. Because I got Stockton. For 5 more years at that point. So I can get another 4 more years of Magic. So if I can get another,
they're probably transitioning Magic into like a point forward. They're bringing in probably another scorer. And what's Magic doing? Magic's getting them out into the break. Magic's rebounding, right? He's still
the point that the thing that I'm thinking about Steph Curry as the GOAT. So if in order for Steph Curry to be the GOAT or to be in this GOAT,
that's what we were talking about.
Yeah, in order for Steph Curry, in my estimation, to be in the GOAT conversation, he has to. If he has to win another championship, you already think that anyway. I don't think that. And the reason why I don't think that is because, and I've stood on this logic and I will stand on this logic. At any point, Tone, can you say that Steph Curry was the best player in the league and it wasn't a question?
No.
I can say at any point,
and it wasn't a question.
it wasn't a question,
right? Was there a year that he was the best player in the league? Maybe, but not a question. No.
And there was a stretch where James was the best player in the league. It wasn't a question. There was a stretch when Jordan was the best player in the league. Jabbar, Chamberlain, Russell. There was when these guys were the best player in the league, and it wasn't a question. As good as Chamberlain was, there was a time when even though I don't think that Russell is better than Chamberlain, but there was a time when Russell was the best player in the league.
Sure.
There was a time when that was going on.
You'll have a better chance of convincing me that Jokic will be in the GOAT debate versus Curry, because I'm living through years where he is the best player in the NBA, and it's not a question.
It's not a question.
And I love Curry, and I do. My son's favorite player, as everybody knows. I got Curry stuff all over my house. Warrior stuff all over my house. However, the only way Curry's in the GOAT debate is if somehow he can go back in time and not blow a 3-1 lead. He can go back in time and be better defensively. And he can go back in time and not have KD on the Warriors and still win those 2 chips. Like, there's so much for him to do, because Curry is phenomenal. Greatest shooter I've ever seen. Greatest shooter in the history of basketball. And I don't think that's a debate. I don't think that's a hot take.
Mm-hmm.
However, I've also seen him because of what he does. Like, I saw a 9-minute stretch where he shot logo 3, logo 3, logo 3, logo 3, all misses.
My goodness.
And blew a lead and turned it into a deficit. And by the time he hit one, congratulations, he cut the lead to 13.
Right.
I saw him win a game 7 when he had 3 points going into the fourth quarter, and his numbers look good because after they were up 15, he started knocking down shots. Well, listen, he might be, and this isn't a knock when I say this, because people are going to say this as a negative. It's not. He might be, when he's got the lead, he is the greatest front runner maybe in the history of basketball. But there's clearly things that you can do to throw him off his game. And that just kind of negates you from being in that conversation, because there's so many of those things. And like I said, but he should be in the conversation for top 10, top 15, because, well, like I just said, he's the greatest shooter we've ever seen.
Correct.
So he's got to be in that conversation.
Correct. But to be in the GOAT debate, nah, I'm good.
Mm-hmm. All right. Next up, don't get the wrong idea with this one, okay? Touch my rocket. Are any of the Houston Rockets untouchable? We talked about them doing something stupid.
One of the guys.
We talked about them doing something in the offseason to kind of put them over the hump. Are any of them untouchable?
One guy.
Sengun?
I actually want to keep all of these guys, but if you call me and you ask for Amen Thompson, no, he's not available. Nope.
He's the one that everyone's going to want.
Yeah, Amen Thompson is not available. Not happening. Nope. Not happening at all. Nope. Of all the guys, because I love Jabari Smith. I think Jabari Smith, he reminds me of my comparison with him was Derek. Him coming out of school, he kind of reminded me of a bigger, more athletic version of Derek McKee in terms of a defender. I really love that about his game. With that being said, right? With that being said, is he expendable? Possibly. I think that Amen Thompson is my point guard of the future. To be honest with you, Tone, I want to give him the ball. I want to give him the ball, and I want to put him in that Scottie Pippen kind of role, where he's my lead guard, and I'm building my offense around him. And a lot of people, they fight me on that off the strength that, well, he's not that much of a shooter. Well, he can be respectable. Scottie Pippen wasn't much of a shooter when he came into the league, and then he was able to knock down open shots.
As long as you put a premier scorer and a shooter and a rebounder, but that's how you build championship teams anyways. Right. So as long as you put those pieces around him, yeah. Right. Could Jalen Green be that guy? He has the potential to be that elite scorer.
Yes.
Right. you got to throw in a rebounder. You need someone in this day and age. You need people who can shoot from the outside. So you're going to have to get that. But yeah, there's no reason why he couldn't play that, like you said, that, for lack of a better term, that Scottie Pippen role. Absolutely.
And I love it. To be honest with you, I do love it about him. Those other guys, they're going to end up losing. I don't think they're going to lose Fred VanVleet off the strength that the team's going to decline that $44.5 million team option. But I think that they're going to do that off the strength of them re-signing Fred VanVleet. I think
more of a team-friendly deal. We're going to say, hey, listen, we owed you 44. We might pay you now 50 or 60, but it's going to be over 3 years, right? So it's more, you'll still get more money, but, and I think Fred knows where he is. Like, Fred is a smart enough guy, undrafted player. Let's just go on to Fred for a minute. Fred VanVleet was a guy who was sitting there at home with his group of friends, and when he didn't get drafted, he said, don't worry, we're good. The most confidence, like, just don't worry, we're good. But you didn't get drafted. Don't worry, we're good. And guess what? He was right. So you think, and I would tend to agree with you. I think Thompson is probably the only one. But like I said, everybody. Let me not stray from who I am. No one's untouchable. No one's untouchable.
The problem that we have in Tone is once Luka got traded, this threw a monkey wrench in everything. Yeah. Because you've said this to me, right? You said
let me ask you this. Milwaukee calls you up and says, hey, I want to take Steven Adams, Amen Thompson off your hands, and maybe somebody else to make the money work. Fred VanVleet. We'll sign him to that 44, or take the player option and give me those 3 guys for Giannis. You're doing it.
I am doing it.
You're doing it. So is it likely? No. Is it realistic? No. But that's why I always say no one's completely untouchable. But if there was who's the guy that I don't want to trade, or the guy that I want to trade the least? Yeah, I'm with you. It's Thompson.
Yes, that's who it is for me. It's definitely Thompson. Mm-hmm.
Next on the agenda. Yeah, I think you like that one. Touch my rocket.
Yes. Yes, sir.
The coach of the year. I think they got it wrong.
I do too. Yes, I do. I think that with Kenny Atkinson being the head coach, with Kenny Atkinson being the coach of the year, what it says is that it's the best team in the league.
The best record.
That's it. That's essentially what you're telling me. You're not. It goes back to the conversation that you and I had, Tone, when we talked about. It goes back to the conversation that you and I had when we talked about the most improved player. What is the most improved player entail? It deals with the guy who went from this to this. I think Kenny Atkinson, what he did was he took a good team and made them even better, right? So
I had bad English. I said he took a great team and made them greater.
I think he took a good team and I think he made them great. Yeah. I think JB Bickerstaff took a bad team and made them great. I don't think he made them good. Nobody had the Detroit Pistons making the playoffs. If you sit there and tell me that with the addition of Tobias Harris, Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Paul Reed, with that band of characters that you had last year, which was 7 guys, that you cared about the additions of those guys, you lying. You 100% lying, because that's not true. You did not have this team making the playoffs. You might have had this team being better, because I did. I had them with JB Bickerstaff. I had them being better. I thought JB Bickerstaff would come in. I thought he would change the philosophy of that. I thought he would change with that crew. I thought he would change the culture of that crew, which he did. I thought that he would change the dynamic of their offense. I thought he changed the dynamic of Jalen Duren and his defense. He took Jalen Duren from being a complete and utter negative on defense to now being a guy who's competent on defense in some areas. Not in a bunch of areas, but in some areas. He got guys like Tim Hardaway Jr., who I'm running more offense for him. And that's a big deal, Tone, when as a coach, when you run an offense for a guy and you putting him in space where he can make shots, you make him way more comfortable and you put way more confidence in him when you feel like that about him. And I think JB Bickerstaff did that. He also came in there from the beginning and changed the attitude of these guys. Tone, don't forget, We lost almost 30 straight games. And if it wasn't for the lowly Toronto Raptors, we're going to lose 40 straight games. So what I got to do is I got to come in here and I got to change the philosophy because I got a bunch of dudes who have the mentality of a bunch of losers. That's the mentality that we have. So I got to change that mentality. And he did that. And the way he did that was instilling toughness in these guys, that we're going to compete every night in every game that we play. And when we do that, we're going to win. And when they started winning, that loser mentality started to go away. All of a sudden, you know what? We ain't as bad as everybody thought we were. In fact, not only are we not as bad as people think we are, we're actually a lot better than people think we are. And because of that,
we're actually pretty good.
I can't believe that Cleveland's gonna give this game up. I'm sorry, Tone, Cleveland is gonna give this game up. This is unbelievable. They're gonna, and I apologize, ladies and gentlemen.
I feel like we've been seeing that so much.
Yeah, they're gonna give this game up. 100% they're gonna give this game up. This is incredible. 100% they're gonna give this game up. They were just up by 7, just like Milwaukee was.
Yeah,
not too long ago. They were up by 7. And now here we are with 12 seconds on the clock. With 12 seconds on the clock.
And he hits the 3. He hits the 3.
That's not a foul. That is not a foul. That's not a foul on Donovan Mitchell. No way. But that's unbelievable. This is incredible.
It's over. It's over. They lost it. Halliburton hit the 3. Did you not see that? Am I telling you something you don't know?
You're telling me something that I didn't know, Tone. I missed it.
I
still got 12 seconds on the clock.
My bad, bro. Okay, here, enjoy the last 12 seconds. I'll let you watch it. Sorry, that I did not realize.
Unbelievable. Yep. Boom, game. Unbelievable. I can't believe that they lost.
Sorry, you're behind. You're 12 seconds.
It's over. It's over. It's over.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's over. Yeah, it's over. Unreal. Yeah, this is incredible. I can't believe that they came back and
can I show everybody what I said to you?
Choke job. Choke job.
I want everyone to I'm going to try and show this. I don't know if it'll show up well. But you said coach of the year, did they get it right? And my response to you was what? Do you remember?
No. I don't remember.
I said, here we go. And I think I can see it while I read it. Or no, let me read it first and then I'll show it. And don't even think this was yesterday, so don't even think. You said, here's the coach of the year. And I said, getting swept by the Pacers is going to make this hilarious.
Oh, it's going to make it nuts. Oh my God.
There's the proof that's what I said to you yesterday.
I can't believe
it looks like it's coming to fruition.
Oh my God.
Oh, man. All right.
Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible. They had them dudes beat. And they choked. The ultimate choke job. That's what that is. The ultimate choke job. That's what that was. These playoffs have been incredible, Tone.
I've never seen so many blown leads.
Steve, these playoffs have been nothing less than stellar. Nothing. And with watching Indiana has been living on the edge of destruction the entire playoffs. And at some point it's got to run out. It has to.
Let me just finish the thought on the coach of the year thing, because you made a great case for JB Bickerstaff. Let me just throw in another name, because he's not going to win one because of the reason why he's out of Boston and they won't vote for him because of that. However, Ime Udoka, taking a team that, let's not forget, didn't make the playoffs last year and getting them to the number 2 seed. And I know they lost to the Warriors, but this is not a playoff award. It's a regular season. Like sure. He got his props, and even JJ Redick got some votes. So I'm happy because they all deserved it. But last one you sent was the NBA. The ratings are down 38% since LeBron's out of the playoffs. And you said, is this true? And the answer is no. No, it's a lie. It's a lie. And here's how I know it's a lie.
I don't understand.
The highest rated game was actually the game 1 Bucks Magic game.
Yep.
Of the first round. So LeBron wasn't in that game.
Yep.
2, TNT said their first game of the second round was the highest rated basketball thing that they've ever had.
Right.
And 3, the TV ratings for the second round haven't even been released yet. So there's no way anyone can know.
So how do we even know that then? If
You
that's
don't.
the case,
People just make up. That's the problem with the internet right now. Is people just make up graphics and put them out there.
And how are we supposed to believe this stuff?
I don't know. So that was the last thing. We have a couple people waiting to jump on. So is there anything else before? I didn't miss anything.
I think that was it, yo. I think that was it.
I like when we get through everything. All right, let's bring up a Johnny who has a commercial.
What up?
This show is Sunday at noon. Check it out.
Yes, indeed. Peace and blessings, gentlemen. What's good, man? I was actually not going to hit the link because I was listening to you guys while watching the game. I can't believe what I just saw. This NBA playoffs is wild.
Can I say something? Because I wanted to say this, but I wanted to bring you up because I saw that you came up. Jay and I already had this discussion and agreed that this was the best NBA season ever. This is shaping to be the greatest NBA playoff run ever because every series has had at least one of these games that are like, oh my God, games.
If not, this is twice with Indiana. This isn't one with them. This is twice with them.
Back-to-back nights. Back-to-back night. Last night's game. Crazy. Everything. Like the whole
Aaron Gordon off a miss, two missed free throws. Boom, boom, boom. Aaron Gordon for 3 for the win.
Everything, even the Knicks games. I mean, this is. Oh, I can't wait for this Warriors. And
I would have said if Jalen Brunson though hit that lefty layup, or no, he's a lefty anyways, doesn't matter. But if he hit that layup at the end of regulation, that would have been a little bit more crazy. But
yeah, the one off the top of the glass. Yeah, he had the
game should have been over in regulation. The game should have been over. This game should have been over in regulation.
Yo, this dude Halliburton, I told you about Halliburton. Chill. I always thought that he was going to show out this year, but he kind of started off the season slow. But man, that guy, man, that team, man, Rick Carlisle, they're you listen. They just stole 2 games. Chill. It's hard to win a series when you lose 2, like you give up. It's over.
The NBA guards.
Not losing, like coughing up. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to say choking, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Yeah.
And both of losing the first 2 games at home, like losing the first 2 games alone.
We're not coming back to Cleveland. We're not coming back here. We're not. This series is over. We are not coming back to Cleveland. The NBA guards think that they're slick. What they're trying to do is they're trying to trick me into thinking that, okay, get on the hook, because we're going to go back to Indiana and we're going to go back to Indianapolis and Cleveland's going to put up a fight and they're going to get back in this series. In this series, they sweeping them dudes. Get Cleveland up.
I blame you. I blame Jay, Johnny. I blame him because he keeps trying to get me on this Cleveland bandwagon. And
I blame him too. Yep, I blame him too.
Leave.
It's his fault. I'm with you. I blame him too. It is Chilltown's fault. He's always over here talking Cleveland this, Boston this, Cleveland this, Boston that. Nah. I told you.
Hey, yo.
I told you, man. It's today's NBA is about chemistry, right? And it's about toughness. The teams that we're watching win, they have good chemistry and they have toughness. They play tough. These 20-point leads don't matter. You know, the moments don't matter. They're just out there doing what they got to do, man. These are great playoff games, man.
You're gonna have a great
because the skill. Chill. These guys are so skilled nowadays. Chill. It's a different NBA. It's a different NBA.
Johnny, stop with the skill stuff, man. You and me, we keep going over this. I know that it's not 1994 anymore. I get that part. Right? I know that the 1900s are over. However, basketball hasn't changed that much. We still got a shot clock. We still can control the pace of the game. We still can control when we take shots. We don't have to allow you to speed us up. We don't have to play into your hands. Coaching is a part of this. Not only is coaching a part of this, to your point, skills are a part of this. Being a floor leader is a part of this. Slow these guys down. Get these guys in spaces where we can be successful. So if I'm watching this Cleveland team and you got a 7-point lead with 48 seconds, that's 3 possessions, Jay. We've done this in high school. We've done this in college. You should be able to hold on to a 3-possession lead. Get the ball in bounds. Now stop right there, Tone. Get the ball in bounds. If I'm watching Sam Merrill on the baseline, I learned how to get open in the 10th grade. I learned how to get open in the 11th grade. You know that when somebody scores, run the baseline. These are things that don't have anything to do with you being enormously skilled. These things don't have anything to do with you being incredibly athletic. This is just about basketball. And the fact that these guys choked another lead is blowing my mind.
And that's the part I was going to say. Yes, we all agree that they're more skilled. They have more skills. They can all do more things, even as individuals. But I don't think, because you said something, you learned that in high school, you learned that in college, but they don't, because they don't really play. In AAU, in high school, they're not playing to learn anymore. They're playing to win. Most of them don't play in college. And if they do play in college, not that much. So they're not learning those things. And I think that basketball IQ is a little bit of, they only know. What was my knock on Russell Westbrook, as you know, for his entire career? All he has is a fastball, 100 miles an hour, and that's it. He doesn't know. He doesn't have that changeup, that curve. He doesn't know how to slow it down. Well, that's how we play right now. To Johnny's point is, we know we have the skill. We know that we can shoot, so we never fear that. Hey, let's just go and shoot that shot. Let's just go and drive the lane. Let's just go do it because we'll get another opportunity. When it's like, well, no, hold on. Let's play a little positional basketball. Let's play a little. We've got the lead. Let's play a little bit different. Let's know how to run a half-court offense and run some clock. It's rare. I'm telling you, that's the part that's missing. If they learn that, but what I was going to say, back to the point that you made about the toughness, you're going to have an easy time on Sunday talking to people who try to tell you how the 90s was tougher, because this year, especially this playoffs, they're hand checking. They're playing tough. They're playing strong. They're playing physical. I love it. It's great.
I've never seen somebody literally push somebody on the floor, like on their chest the whole way up. I've never seen that before. Like, I mean, extended. I've never seen that before in NBA history, even watching 90s basketball. But again, the playoffs, the NBA playoffs have always been more physical than the regular season. They play with more intensity. It's harder to referee the games in the playoffs. There's so much going on. But man, these are great playoffs, man. These are great playoffs.
This is as much as I have such a difficult time watching teams choke leads. Mm-hmm. This is still great basketball.
Don't worry. 9 a.m., sir. I'll see you 9 a.m. tomorrow. I got my response for you tomorrow, 9 a.m. So either way, enjoy this. Let's watch Michael Jordan's son play later. Actually, within the next couple of minutes here. You know who Michael Jordan's son is? Come on now, Chill. You got to be hip to. You got to be hip to the game, Chill.
There's so many because
they told me it was Jimmy Butler. That's what they told me it was.
Because both of the sons are playing against each other.
That's what they told me.
Oh, that's true. Jimmy Butler is his true love child. This is true love child. It is his true love. Anyways, great show, gentlemen. Appreciate you guys.
Absolutely.
Man. All right. We've got a few minutes for.
Yes, we do.
His 2 cents. I feel like it should be. I feel like there should be a segment with music that says like, time for 2 cents.
What's up, fellas?
What
I got you.
I'm gonna touch on something real quick. I'll be at the 10-minute mark when I start watching y'all. But the same thing we just watched. Like I'm never surprised with missing Garland and Mobley. I look at it
and Hunter
like,
too. Hunter was out too.
And Hunter, yeah.
And Hunter. See, but a lot of people they'll look at that. I look at that like, man, I'm watching the game without LeBron and Reeves, or you know what I'm saying. I'm missing the game without Zubac and Powell. You can still compete in the NBA, but however, I know the outcome. See, and I know I got a gift, but guess what? You know what I won't do? I will never gamble. And I know if I gamble, I'll get cursed behind it. Say what people can say what they want to say. I can sit here and write it down. If I showed you what it was, my girl sit here and laugh. She's like, how do you know these things? I'm like, because I know. And when I be talking, I sit and get on panels. I watch people. I write it down. Sometimes if you go back and rewind the chat, I'll be like, oh, man. They'll be like, yeah, look at Memphis beating up on OKC. I type in the chat. I said, look, the headlines are going to read, baby. Watch this. Biggest comeback in the this is what it's going to say on ESPN. It'd be so funny because... Go ahead. No. It's just funny. It's just a guess. You know how it is. It's funny a lot of times on that.
I want to say something.
Such a difficult time though.
Because you guys both said something. These guys are out and those guys are out, and people are in the chat saying, they had 2 starters missing, and blah 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 blah. But here's my thing. Like they're missing this guy, Ridge Matt. They're missing 2 starters and their top forward off the bench. They're not supposed to win. Okay.
I'm not listening.
Hold on. No. I'm okay with. Listen, I'm okay. They're missing all their starters. This, that, the other thing. No problem. If they're losing and they get blown out, or they're down 10 and they lose, that's a legitimate reason for why they lost. But when you're up 7 points with less than a minute to play, or whatever it was, I think it was something like 7. That has nothing to do with who's there and who's not there, because you just played 47 and a half minutes and you're winning by 7. Now that excuse goes away. Now that reason goes away. Now that just means you mishandled the last 30 seconds or the last 1 minute, and that's on you, because you were good enough for 47 minutes. No excuses. I don't care if your entire starting 5 missed. If you're up 7 with 30 seconds, you have to win that game. I don't care. I don't care who's missing, because you've done it. You've done it. That's my only thing.
I know. It's my anecdotal experience, and I understand probabilities and possibilities. That's all I'm playing on. And I can understand you like, you don't get that excuse. It's not an excuse. I'm just talking possibilities and probabilities. I understand things can happen. I get it. You can get struck by lightning and all that. It's possibilities, probabilities. That's all I'm talking about. Skip that part. I want to talk about, because I've been here for 15 minutes. I'm talking about that Giannis thing that you said earlier, and I slide out. The loyalty thing that you were saying. The reason why someone like a Giannis would stay there, because you got to remember, loyalty only goes a certain way. I know that Chill loves you in a certain way, but your loyalty to him may only go but certain. It can only go so far. Like Giannis, he has a family. He has himself. He's been there for a lot of years. So after so long, it can fade. At this point, I think it's starting to fade with what he's doing at this certain point. It's just fading, because he's like, man, you gave me my first house. You let my brother do this and all that kind of stuff. So as far as we're gonna go. We went as far as we're gonna go. It's probably starting to fade at this point in time. And Chill, don't act like that, bro. You ain't have to be rude like that. But I'll stop right now. But you ain't have to be rude. Wait. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Thank you for.
What are you talking about, too?
What do you mean?
Yeah, no, all I would just say, I'll close it right now, but you don't have to be rude like that. But all I was saying is about Giannis. All I was saying about Giannis, his loyalty with the Milwaukee Bucks.
2 cents. Right. Hold on. Time out. He didn't say anything rude. What do you think? What did you hear?
No, he was saying, I got to go. Right when I was speaking.
No. He's
saying Giannis.
I was talking about Giannis. Like we've gone as far. We've gone as far as we're gonna go here in Milwaukee. That's what I was talking about.
Dang, I heard that wrong. I thought you said we gotta go. I thought you said we gotta go.
What I said with Giannis, we've gone as far as we're gonna go.
We got it.
Man, please, thank you.
You heard that wrong.
Thank you. Okay, we gotta go. Yeah, okay.
Right, we've done it. I've been here for 13 years. We've done everything that we're gonna do.
Okay, woo.
This is as far as we're gonna.
Man, that hurt my feelings. I thought you said, man, we got to go. Get out of here, bro. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Let me land it. Okay. Let me land it. But yeah, now you understand what I'm saying. Yeah, Giannis probably got gifted, and he comes over here to the country, and he's going to stay as long as he can because these people probably did a lot for him. So they got his culture probably has a certain thing about loyalty, and I can understand it. He stayed longer than what he really should have. And I understand that loyalty, but now they're not going to do what he needs to do as far as his family at this point in time. So I understand him leaving now at this point, because I didn't realize he stayed this many years. Giannis got to go. Giannis got to go. He got to go. Yeah, now I understand. My fault, Chill, bro. I did not mean that. Yeah, let me go. I'm going to land it right there.
All right, brother. Good to talk to you. No doubt. No doubt. All right, brother.
It's funny, when sometimes when there's like 2-3 people talking at the same time, you
hear something, you're like, wait a minute. You're like, no, that's not what I said.
I said right away, I was like, he heard that wrong. He heard that wrong.
100% heard that wrong.
Oh, man.
It's about that time, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls all over the world.
Lies by.
About that time. I can't believe Indiana came back and won that game, Tony. I am blown away. I don't know what to say.
Anything is possible.
For real. I'm blown away by that. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls all over the world, you know what time it is when you see us every Tuesday. Me and my man Tony Tone, we do this right here on the Sports Fluent and Chilltown Hoops Network. We will see you next week. Until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey man, you know what this Sunday is? It is Mother's Day. Call your mother. Yes, sir. This Sunday is Mother's Day. Call your mother. We will see you guys soon. But until then, take it light. But take it. Absolutely, man. It was good to see you guys.
Jay, I'm sorry. We can't leave.
Why not?
We can't leave.
What's the problem?
Because you got to go to fluent.printify.me and get your Call Your Mother shirt. Because Call your mother. It's Mother's Day.
It is Mother's Day this Sunday. Call your mother.
Call your mother.
Yes, sir. Call your mother. Yes, sir.
Now we good.
Now we good. No doubt. Yes, sir. Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
Nah, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.